Okay. Welcome in to the Gritty Mamas podcast, a Julie Jeppson production.
Yes, that's right. I'm actually coming up with, I used to have the business called the Boyer Family Jewels, and then I've switched it since to the Big Family Jewels. But now I'm doing so many different projects, right? I've got, all of my single mamas that are in one group that are battling in family court. I've got my books that I've written and put up on Amazon. I have the content from my vlog, and then podcasting, and then there's sponsorships, and then I'm starting a new venture called digital real estate. And so I've been kind of discussing and having conversations with chat, and it's like, why don't you just come up with a name to be the umbrella with all of those things under it, so that can be the actual business. And so I was like, how can I incorporate jewels into that? So we might be calling it 8 Jewels Studios, but I'm not sure yet, because studios like wraps up the whole, like it's not necessarily like, I thought about 8 Jewels Media, but I'm like, no, it's not media. It's not just videos and it's a productions. It's a studios. It's different kinds of projects. And so I don't know, 8 Jewels, obviously, because it's a play on my name. People call me Jules. I called it the Big Family Jewels because, yes, I know what the family jewels are, and it was supposed to be a play on words. And people call me that. And then I just say I have 8 jewels. Julie and 8 Jewels is like part of my email address. And so I have 8 little kids that I consider to be my jewels. And then Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile are some of my favorite movies.
Oh, well, that's fun.
So it might be an 8 Jewels production. Who knows? But we're back. Hopefully you guys liked the podcast last time when we talked about the generosity of so many viewers, so many of you, EV Auto, who has let me have a loaner car and are helping me fix the engine.
That's so generous.
It is. I can't even explain like my heartfelt thanks. Talked again about some family court corruption and power and control, and how we want to have Leah and Dana back on to the podcast. And speaking of that, we wanted to thank Sundara for letting us hosting our off the record event. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I had an event on May 9th for specifically women who are or have been or will be in
family court.
In family court, I was going to say sucked into or trapped in family court, because you don't know that you're going to, it's like a spider's web. You get glued in and you can't get out, not because you're not trying, but you are stuck because it's how they're making their money. If there's no conflict with families or no conflicts with children, then what's the point of a guardian ad litem who is an attorney for kids? If there's not any conflict or discord with parents fighting for custody, then what's the point of a custody evaluator? So it's as if they make the problems worse or they intensify them. I always like to use the example of when my first attorney, I told her that the petitioner came and took the kids when it wasn't his time. And so when she emailed opposing counsel, she's like, he came in yelling and screaming and raising his hands and throwing a fit about
I remember this.
Kids. Yeah. And I emailed her and I was like, no, he didn't do that. He didn't throw a fit. He took the kids and it wasn't his day, but he didn't come in like attacking. And she was like, oh, sorry. I thought that's what you meant. And that was my first kind of taste of, holy crap, like they're embellishing or they're exaggerating and making this worse, and I can say that because that honestly happened on my side, where my attorney was the one kind of white lying, fibbing, or making it out to be something bigger than it was. I was just like, he took the kids when he wasn't supposed to, but he didn't come and like attack me and yell at me and scream at me and flail his arms. But yeah, I was bugged and I was bothered, upset, but you didn't need to make it a bigger deal. But that is what family court is. It's playing this game. It is at the using people's lives as the pieces in the game and not giving a flying rip if you are, playing sorry and you are kicked out of your spot and sent back home. Like nobody cares. And we talked about the neighbor, most likely tampering with my engine and how he was let off with $250 for disorderly conduct and a plea deal and having the rest of his charges dismissed. And hopefully we have a hate crime that can escalate and he'll serve some prison time. But I don't have any hope for that. So,
well, it's more like, how many times do you have to call and have him arrested for him to actually stay there? It's so frustrating. And to me, it's like, I don't know. I know that there are lots of people who need to be in jail and there's only so much space in the jail. I know there's all sorts of reasons they use, but I just am like, how bad would that judge feel if he let this guy out? And I mean, you are a single mom with 8 kids living next door to a giant who is an angry, bigoted human. And like, it has, just totally reckless disregard for human life, pretending to run over your kids and all the things. If something happened to you after the cops brought him in with 8 misdemeanors and 2 felonies and he just let him out.
Yep.
I mean,
no bail, no probation, like nothing, a little slap on the wrist. And it's just not what you expect going into family court. And so I had an event, we called it Off the Record, just again, a play on words. I kind of take after my mom. She likes to make things more creative and exciting for her. So anytime she has a church calling, she'll change the words to beat it. Beat it, beat it, like from Michael Jackson. And instead she changed it to be it, be it, be it. And she was talking about being, a child of God or whatever it was, or a powerful daughter of God or something. So I kind of get it from her, which is where the Big Family Jewels came from. It's where Off the Record has come from. Because everything that is said here, it's like what happens here stays here in Vegas, right? This is what happens here in this room is off the record. Because anything you say, I mean, little things come into my mind, like when you say, for the record, I never did that. Like, that's a play on family court or just court words.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Same thing, somebody asked me in the store a few months ago, so what's on the docket for you? I was like, well, I have a motion that was just filed yesterday because she was, to me, it was the actual docket.
Yeah.
And that's another court term. Like on the docket, it says you have 5 motions for this. And I was like, so when she's like, well, what's on the docket for you? It just meant, how are you? What's going on in your life? And I was like, well, I filed a motion. She was like, what are you talking about? But so many things tie back to, family court. Or
well, to be clear, you had in like the same sentence there a second ago, we were talking about the next door neighbor, and then you said something about family court. So we do need to be clear that the petitioner is not the stalker, is not the one that was arrested.
Yes. Because people did ask me that. I did not make that clear either in my Instagram post when I was like, I think he tampered with my engine, and people were like, the petitioner? I was like, no. The stalker is the next door neighbor. And yes, that is the same person. Because some people are like, wait, who's the stalker and who's the neighbor? I'm like, it's the same dude.
Yes. The neighbor is the stalker.
Officially, that is officially what he
legally.
is.
Yeah. That's why we call him the stalker, and you call the ex the petitioners, because legally that's what they're referred to as. Yeah.
So, but yes, at this event, we had my attorney talk about things to avoid in family court, things like guardian ad litems, do not get them. Things like special masters, do not agree to a special master. A special master is like a temporary judge who's on your case until trial comes up, but you're needing one to handle the things that are happening now. Do not get a custody evaluator. Do not mess with DCFS. They will turn on you. Do not get an AFCC therapist or reunification therapist. You do not agree to any of these things. They will screw you over. And so he talked about that. And then we had Leah Moses.
You're talking about the event. You're back to talking about the event.
Back at the event held at Sundara. I invited all of these women, and it was a, special invitation, private invitation for women, past, present, or future, who are in family court or will be or have been, and kind of a place to get together and be able to say, like, you have that commissioner too. Oh my gosh, this is what she did to me. This is what she said to me. And then to be able to, I guess, commiserate, on the things that are happening to us and how we have no control over some things. And then talking about custody situations and money draining. And we had Leah Moses speak on how on her son who was, unalived by his dad. And
you say Leah Moses. Is Moses her current married name?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was Gandhi.
She got remarried.
Yeah. It was, the dad of Om, it's Om Gandhi. It was Parth Gandhi was his name.
Okay.
And so then Leah remarried, and it's now Leah Moses, but she is a midwife in Layton, Utah, and she's the one who championed Ohm's Law. And Ohm's Law protects kids, from abuse and from coercive control and from reunification camps and all of these things. And so we had Salt Lick catering there, and we had a breathing exercise that a lot of women were like, that was amazing.
Really?
Yes. I had a ton that they were crying in there, which I knew would happen because I was too. But I have had a ton reach out and say, what was her name? Where do we find the breath person?
Really?
So that was a great experience for them. I wish we all could have done it. I had my little group sing.
Which was awesome. I took video and I never posted it. I should send you it.
Fine. So anyway, it was a great event. I plan to do more because getting together with women who are dealing with it, because you think that you're alone. Mm-hmm. And that you're the only one that's dealing with this, and you have family that doesn't understand, and you have friends that don't understand, and relationships are changing because you're trying to fight something that they don't think that you should be fighting. And why are you dragging this out? And you're still in family court. No, they don't get it. So to be with people who are in that mud with you, it's rejuvenating, it's energizing, it lifts your spirit, like literally. Yeah. And
well, I was shocked. So at the beginning of the event, the catering people were running a little behind. Yeah. And so I went out to like the holding area in the airlock of Sundara, and I was trying to like talk to people and get to know people. And there were people who came from out of state. There were people who drove quite a ways to be there.
People came from out of state?
Yeah, they did.
I did not know that. Like where? Do you know where?
Like Wyoming.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That kind of, like neighboring states.
Yes.
But they came from out of state. So I was impressed, and I could tell they needed to be there. So I feel like I loved everything except for I hated having to turn people away for the
Carly got like the raw end of the deal, and I didn't even ask her to do it. She just stepped in and was like my right-hand woman, and she was, we had swag bags with things.
It was the swag bags. That's what they're called. Yeah.
Thank you.
And there was only 75 of them.
75 blankets that they donated, and we had about 100 women there. And
I had to turn some women away that had signed up but hadn't paid, because that was like,
it was only $10.
It was only $10, but Julie was like, the ones that have paid, like they kind of like are first in line. And so I was like, I had to turn a couple people away, and it was the worst day ever. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I almost like ran into the parking lot after one woman to be like, just hang tight, and if we have an extra left over, you can have it. But I was like, I was not built for this. I want to give everybody everything. But it was,
you get one and you get one. I know.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was because, everybody there was hurting. One of the cool things about the event, I don't know if you were going to talk about this or not, but what's the organization that donated the food?
BK Outreach.
And yes, so BK Outreach.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name. Brett, maybe. Brett is also the stalker. I can't remember the actual name of the short story is this man was addicted to drugs, and he was in and out of jail. And at one point she said he was serving a life sentence. I don't know how he ended up getting out, but he did, and changed his entire life around. And became this amazing man, and ended up drowning in Puerto Rico on a vacation. Like, of all things, that after his history of horrible drug abuse, that's how he died. Mm-hmm. And she ended up creating a nonprofit called BK, which is the initials of his name, Outreach. And she feeds people. So she gets all of the food that's like about to be thrown out from the airport, that's about to be thrown out from the
stadium
soccer games, the stadiums. And so it's
Trader Joe's, I think,
tons of Trader Joe's stuff, Sprouts, food that's lots of organic stuff, because it goes bad quicker, Mm-hmm. And so she has signed a contract that she won't dispose of the food at the landfill. And so she works side by side with Waste Less Utah, I think is the name. and they are just giving she gets delivered these huge quantities of food. Like
it was wild.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's a little bit more moldy and older than others, and some of the cucumbers aren't as crisp, as a fresh cucumber. But like we talked about, I've been on my mission to Paraguay. I've had no water. I have lived, and done things that I tried to be resourceful. You don't care when you don't have it. You're just
well, I mean, if you can cut the mold off, it's better than having none,
Yep.
But there was plenty of stuff that didn't have mold on it. I mean, I tossed some of the stuff that I was like, this, you can't eat this,
Yeah.
Most of it was really good. I mean, everything from bread to eggs, big bags of salad. Oh yeah. Eggs, almond milk. I was shocked how much almond milk there was.
Lots of produce,
fresh vegetables.
Yep. Fruit. And then hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yes. From the stadium food.
5-pound bags of onions, 5-pound bags of carrots. And so I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I know that I would have appreciated this if I had come to an event like that, to just say, take whatever you want.
So that's what I was going to say, is at the end of the event, I think some people who left first, maybe they might have taken a couple things here or there, but there were a couple at the end. There was one girl in particular who was excited about it. And then she filled up a box and she was like, oh my gosh, I just realized that my mom needs food too. And then she filled up that box. She's like, my mom just reminded me that my uncle needs food. And I was just like, take it, because if you don't take it, it's going to horses. And she was like, can I take all this? I was like, yeah, take whatever you want. And that was, I liked that job way better than the swag job. I loved being able to take it all.
Yeah.
You get it and you get it and you get it, versus sorry, you didn't pay your $10. Yes. Oh, I hated that. But
I know.
It was painful. But
yeah,
it was really cool
for it to just be able, because I'm not dogging on. We talked about raw dogging. We're raw dogging this episode, meaning there's not a whole lot of edits or cuts. We just raw dog it. And Carly had to teach me last week what raw dog really means, because I
guess I taught the internet. Do I want to be known for that? Let's not put that in the show notes.
We're gonna have the transcript at the bottom and the little slots at 15:42 raw dog. Actually it's 17 minutes. We're talking about raw dogs, but anyway,
it's a good thing that my mom's not a prude, because she listens to this.
My mom would probably be just as lost as me. What's raw dog mean? Anyway, I don't even know what you were saying, but I wasn't trying to rip on Bishop Storehouse, right? And WIC. You have to only get approved food from WIC. And from the Bishop Storehouse, you have to get your food order approved. And it's great and it's fine. And there are protocols.
They have their place.
Yes.
It's just that it's about surviving. It's not about preference.
And, when I went to the Bishop Storehouse, and it's a wonderful place and there are wonderful people serving, but I had a 90-year-old couple that I had to walk alongside as they pushed the cart for me. And they're, obviously they're moving so slow and they're checking everything off of their list, to make sure that I'm not getting anything that I didn't sign up for. 3 cans of cream of chicken, Harold. And then he would do a big check mark right in the square of cream of chicken.
Okay, you guys, if you don't know this about Julie, there's nothing slow about Julie, and there's no wasting time.
No, I don't have time.
This is how I am with when Julie's like, how do you listen to all this stuff? I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to YouTube. It's because I 2x everything, right? I am
double time,
and I'm multitasking. I'm doing, I'm working out and I'm listening, or I'm doing the dishes and I'm listening, or whatever. Julie's the same way, but with everything in life. So I can just imagine the anxiety crawling up your chest when you're watching these old people move so slow. Little turtles.
They probably haven't done anything all day or hadn't had a lot of visitors. And mine was a food order, and it was big and long because I have 8 children, and so I had to walk side by. And I couldn't do the grabbing. I wasn't allowed, right, to get my own cans of cream of chicken.
Well, because these old missionary couple, they need something to do, Julie.
But also how heaven forbid I take more than I've requested. Again, I don't want to rip on it, but it took me probably 3 hours, it feels between, and you feel like you're going in with a mug shot, here's my paper, she stamps it, And then you're like standing there waiting to, for approval to have a 90-year-old couple walk you
Which at
along the
least
aisles.
at the Bishop Storehouse, though, at least it's not like a grocery store full of your neighbors, right? Like I have talked to people who hate the food stamps situation because they feel like, or even having to do couponing because they feel like everybody's watching them and they slow everything down, and because the system works different. It's not just like you give them a credit card like everybody else. It seems
It
like
is
there's
now,
always
though.
something. They changed it.
So I used to think that EBT or that, food stamps was actual. This is how dumb I am. Like I thought they were actual like stamps, like coupons.
Oh, sure. Well, at one
But
point they probably
now,
were.
yeah, now EBT
You're
is,
kind of far from the mic.
am I? Now
Yeah.
it is a credit card. Looks just like a credit card. And you
But you
just swipe
still
it.
have to make sure that it's EBT approved. So if you go through the line and you don't have something, like the credit card won't work for some of the stuff, right?
Oh, there were times I went with my WIC card
Mm-hmm.
and I would get things that weren't WIC approved. And so I would have, let's say $80 on the WIC card, but it would only pay, or let's say I had $60 on the WIC card, but I had $80 worth of stuff. And I'm like, wait, this is all WIC stuff. Well, no, you got a 24-ounce box of Cheerios and this only allows a 12-ounce. And I was like, oh, and it's not worth going back and put the cereal, but then you've got people behind you and then I have to
Yes,
get a
that's
different
the
credit
kind of
card
stuff
out.
that I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Is like,
Yeah.
so
Obnoxious.
at least the Bishop Storehouse is way more private, way less embarrassing. Like it's
However,
slow.
yes. However, I got in big trouble when I was there because this is how, again, dumb I am. I didn't know that the Bishop Storehouse existed.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, I've said this in the podcast before. I thought that it was only a Doctrine and Covenants thing, like only in that day and age. I had no clue that they're all over the
1800s,
place.
1900s, yeah.
I didn't know. So when I got there, I was floored. I was like, "What? It's like a miniature grocery store. Have you ever been?"
No.
Yeah, it's like a miniature grocery store with aisles. It's just a lot smaller and shorter. And so I was like filmed myself at the storehouse, like, look, you guys. And I was trying to honestly let other moms know that this was available. And you don't have to be a member of the church to receive food from the storehouse. So I was telling everyone, like, this is here and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to prove that you're poor. If you need food, they're not going to let you starve. And then I went inside and I was like, look at this. It's ice cream from the BYU Creamery. And oh my gosh, they have the best chocolate milk I've heard. And they have like the best beef stew in a can and all these things. So, and I vlog, right? So I was vlogging and the head honcho missionary came up and raged at me. How dare you film in this facility? And I was like, and no one was near me. And I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, you're not allowed to film people. I'm like, I'm not filming anyone. There's no one in this shot. I am trying to be a missionary. I am trying to show that this exists for other women or people or families that are out there and don't know it exists. Like, chill out, bro. Chill out. Pull the garments down a little bit. Like, get them off, like they're up your butt and chill. Because people are so embarrassed to even step foot in the Bishop Storehouse. It's all about pride and embarrassment and, oh, I don't want anybody to know that I'm struggling for food. But
which is like, how would anybody know?
Because I was filming it. But I wasn't filming it anyway. So I understand people get embarrassed and I've just lost all pride. Like after you have babies, and it was funny after watching Adana, it wasn't funny, but watching her with this kidney stone, she was writhing in pain, and in the lobby. And by the way, I was not happy with this hospital because they were taking people before her and she was a minor. Like, I feel like all you have to do is say chest pain and they'll be like, oh, get back. It could be a heart attack. But I have a minor that is violently vomiting. I almost grabbed like a plantar, plant to have her barf in that because I ran and grabbed a garbage. She is hurling in this garbage, but she is like all over the place, like trying to get into a comfortable position. Her underwear showing, her bra and she did not care. Right? Oh, yeah, no. She's in so much pain. So it's like, I'm like, oh, she's learning that when you're in pain or when you're having a baby, all shame is gone. The whole world sees up there, and you don't care. You don't care.
No.
So, I didn't care that I was in the Bishop Storehouse and I didn't care that I was posting about it.
But I don't understand why anybody, like, in general would, I don't know, I guess.
I just think that they're embarrassed.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I just because
because they have to use the bishop's storehouse. Because I guess maybe they, I just don't like to make assumptions about people. If I saw somebody at a bishop's storehouse, I probably would give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, I bet they're there helping with somebody. And even if they are there, who cares? Like, I've had friends and family members, and I don't know. I guess
probably because people are embarrassed that they are so low that they can't even buy bread. They're so dirt poor or financially devastated that they can't even afford a carton of milk.
I think maybe it's because the reason it doesn't, like, I don't feel the embarrassment for them is because I see so many people in that situation, right? It's like that is so much more common than they know. And I've seen it so often. Maybe it's my association with you, but I just feel like, I guess the older I get too, it's this idea that I've talked to you about before, where it's like, we all talk about serve, just serve. Make sure you're serving other people. If you're feeling down, go serve someone else. Well, guess what? If you're going to serve, somebody has to be served, right? Like, the bishop's storehouse is going to exist. Somebody needs to use it, right? Like, I don't see people going to the storehouse as people that I should shame or feel ashamed for, or I don't know. So I hope that if anybody listens to this, at least one opinion that is mine is, don't feel ashamed if you have to go to the bishop's storehouse. That's why it's there. And everybody has times where they need help. Everybody does. And, maybe there's people that make you feel like, less than because you have to, but I just say their opinion is none of your business.
Yeah. And maybe it's because it has to get like approved by the bishop and by the Relief Society president. You have to go through all these hoops even to get a food order, but it's there and it's there for a reason. So I didn't think there was any reason for him to be so mad at me, but
maybe
whatever.
Like the legalities of it. Maybe
so. I just was like, dude, I was just trying to let people know that this exists. But anyway, so I don't know how we got on the bishop's storehouse, but
just that event and
that's
the
right.
food that was there. It was, I thought there were definitely things that we would do different and better next time from a logistics standpoint. Again, with the swag bags and things like that, in my head after, I was like, oh, I could have done this and this to prevent that from happening. But like, I just showed up and was like, put me where you need me. And then I just needed to be all over the place. And so anyway, there were definitely things that could have been done better, but since we'd never done an event at this venue and all things, I thought it went really, really well. I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to hear the speakers because I was, again, doing like back end stuff, but I was impressed with there were women who really went and made friendships. I think there were women who took the opportunity to what's the word I'm looking for, to network. And that was my hope, is that people would network.
Right, because they could talk about, I mean, you've been listening to the podcast now, and Carly now understands, but unless you have experienced it or followed day by day a case of someone and knowing the rules that you have to follow, and you can't just, and there's courtroom etiquette. I think I've said before how I was baffled that Elizabeth Smart was so just like, no, Your Honor. And I was just like, what? Tell him what he did to you. Say it. But there are things that you can say and ways that you have to say them. You can't say, my child is abused in their father's care. You have to say, I believe that my child, the best interests of my child are not being served in the care of the husband. Like, you have to say things like, so anyway. So it was nice to be able to be around other women who can just say it like it is and not be silenced or shamed or made to feel like you're dragging this out and you're the reason and you're the cause.
I would say like 95% of the people, if not 99% of the women there, were there on the same team and wanting to feel uplifted. I did, like, when I was waiting at the like for the doors to open with the women, there was one woman who was like, I know there's somebody here, like, I know the husband and she's actually the narcissist, she's actually the problem. What do we do? And I was like,
crap, I know.
We just pretend we don't know and hope the night goes okay. I don't know, but I think for the most part, it was a very safe space. And I think that sometimes it's nice just to go into a space like that and know that most likely you're going to run into somebody who can relate to you. And And I saw it happening in the corners of the rooms, and there were definitely those who were like, I want to talk to your attorney. I want to have these resources, and then there were also women who were just like, I'm here because like, I can't not be here, because I am drawn to the women and all the things. So anyway, I thought it went really well, and it was awesome. I do hope that we can do something that's like more lighthearted and fun for them,
Yeah.
But
it just needs to be more like because so many of them had questions, and I wanted to have a live, like a Q&A where they could just go to town and answer. I mean, it's more boring, but just for part of it, because there were so many people that wanted to ask the questions without having to pay, right?
Yeah.
Because any email that we send costs $300 to read. Yeah. Any question that we ask from to our attorney is going to cost you an answer. So it was.
I mean, this is unnecessary for me to say on the podcast, but I do think it demonstrates who these women are. Afterwards, there was some theft that happened that night. Remember, there were. So Whitney said that they stocked the bathrooms full, like they had 8 extra toilet papers in each bathroom. They were all gone.
Yeah.
And then there was actually quite a bit of product that was stolen. Yeah. And that sucks. But I thought it was interesting when she talked about the toilet paper, she's like, I don't mind. It means that they really needed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not ever going to say that theft is okay. But I will say that's how badly these women are hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need toilet paper. That's how bad some of these women's life.
Mm-hmm.
Do I say that?
Women's lives are.
Yeah. Women's lives are. Yeah. So it was a pleasure to be surrounded by women who are, survivors and still doing what they need to do.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of survivors and surviving, like I feel like I'd be a good newscaster. You would too. Newscaster or like weather person when they're able to make those transitions. It's been kind of a stormy day on the football field. Now take it away. What's the weather looking like today? At the transition, like speaking.
Do you know who Brett Cooper is?
Huh?
Do you know who Brett Cooper is? That's her name, right? She used to be on the Daily Wire. Now she does her own thing on YouTube. I'll have to send you some. She used to do this. It was called the comment section, but she does like commentary on more of like Hollywood and where Hollywood and politics meet. She's more in like she's a younger girl, but she has hilarious transitions from what she's talking about, all like animated or heated or whatever, to her ads. It's very funny. I'll have to send you some. She's pretty good.
Yeah, it's on the spot transitions where you're like, speaking of that, and Leah was always good at that. Hey, you just took me right into my next conversation that we're going to have about. But speaking of family law and court and these women and having trial and being in jail, I currently, the next step in my court battle is mediation for the 4th time on Wednesday. So, but by the time you're hearing this, mediation will be over. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes down. But this one is over Zoom. And I'm going to be hiding out in my friend's house so I'm not distracted by dogs or by my children who always seem to find me in this closet. But
wait, are you going to go to your friend that I met that night that I worked with in the front? Oh, I like her.
Yes. In fact, this is the same friend. This is a shout out to Melanie Griffith and Chick-fil-A Taylorsville and Valley Fair. They own those Chick-fil-A's, and she has served me so many times with Chick-fil-A food. In fact, at trial, she brought Chick-fil-A for my attorney.
Did she really?
She did. And so when I had suggested to the petitioner that I will stay in the house for 4 days and then I'll go to work for 3, well, you stay in the house for those 3 days and then I will just go stay at Melanie's house in the basement. And that's when he said, it's not going to work for me. But Melanie would have housed me. So I'm going to go to her basement and Zoom this stupid mediation, which is required before you can continue on with an appeal. So if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, in 10 seconds, I have been litigating with the petitioner for 3.5 years. We had a 4-day court trial, bench trial, 4 days. Got the ruling 2 months later, which was in my favor. For the most part,
it was a great ruling.
Yeah, he was ordered to pay all my attorney fees, which was just shy of $300,000. And then,
of course, he's going to appeal.
Yes. Well, he didn't even appeal that. He filed a motion to reconsider or amend, basically saying, I don't like this. This is not fair. So can you rethink this? And it just so happens that my judge retired. And so
the judge who heard the whole case.
Yes. 4 days of trial, 8 hours a day of expert witnesses and testimony and argument, and evidence, exhibits, like crazy. Like we had binders and binders of exhibits, and then he read it all and reviewed it for 2 months. I didn't even get the ruling for 2 more months. And then they filed a motion to reconsider. We have another hearing. This time it's with a new judge who, in fact, was an adoption judge. And when he got onto the hearing, he just said, he said the words, I'm babysitting this case. And I was like, what? So first of all, he doesn't give a flying rib. Second of all, he said, I'm new to divorce law because I've been doing adoption law.
And by the time you got his ruling, didn't he leave and do something else?
Yeah, because he was like, I'm babysitting this case, and then I'm moving on to a different district. I don't know. Okay. I mean, I don't even know what law he's practicing. Yeah. But he got reassigned. So he was literally babysitting and for one hearing. So he didn't hear anything for 4 days, the 4 days worth of trial. He didn't read anything on the docket, right? All the motions you can read and things that were thrown out or approved by the commissioners. And so he ended up basically undoing a lot of the good things.
The biggest one was the legal fees.
Biggest one. So he got rid of all the legal fees that he was ordered to pay me. He increased his equity. He decreased his alimony. I was just like, what the freak is happening? Like, how you can't just do that. And what I have learned is that judges have the ability to use discretion. So if my original judge had messed up lawfully or legally something and did the math wrong in his calculations for alimony or for child support, yes, you can contest that and he can say, no, this is legally an error. But if you use a discretionary ruling and you say, I believe that, Julie should have sole legal custody, and I believe that Julie is more credible and that she should be granted her attorney fees. It's discretionary. It was a decision that he was able to make based on the judgment that he had and by the evidence that he saw and by the testimonies that he heard. It's discretionary. He can kind of call those shots. That's like the privilege of being a judge. Like he got to just make those calls based on what he heard and saw and read. And so for the judge to undo that, my attorneys were saying, no, he doesn't get to do that. He's acting as though he's an appellate judge in an appellate law case, and he doesn't get to do that. So we are now going to appeal. And I never thought that would happen. I thought it would be the petitioner who was appealing, which he did, but that was called a motion to reconsider. So we appeal that ruling, which, by the way, it took another 2 months to get the second ruling where he kind of screwed me over, increased his equity and decreased all my good stuff and just did away completely with the attorney fees. So we have appealed. That takes like another 9 months to a year, another like 30 grand probably. And that's when it goes to the appellate judge. And appellate, how do you explain appellate?
It's just the appeal. It's a separate, it's a
higher, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different court. It's a higher court. I mean, every court the Supreme Court is like the greatest appellate court, right? Like you keep appealing until you get to the Supreme Court, but you keep going to different judges.
Higher ups. It's like going up to the higher ups. So, and then they can look at, hopefully the goal is for them to look at this case, this appeal and say, yeah, this second judge does not get to switch up the ruling that the original judge made based on discretionary decisions. He doesn't get to do that. And so we'll grant you your appeal. I mean, that's the hope. So,
did your lawyers tell you what would happen? Like, let's just say it goes well for you. I mean, let's assume that you can't mediate this because there's no way. I mean, he doesn't do mediation. It always gets kicked out, right?
Yeah.
So let's say mediation doesn't work again. And
then we
you
go
do
forward
this,
with the appeal.
then you do the appeal, and let's just say it goes your way and you get the appeal.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to what the first judge declared.
Mm-hmm.
Then what can the petitioner do after that?
Nothing, I don't think. I think it ends there.
That ends.
I think so. Because I kept telling my lawyer, I was like, well, they just undid the whole ruling. Like, at what point can they stop playing their cards? You know, and he said they're like down to their last stick, right? They're down to their last effort. Because yeah, then it would go on forever. And
right. Well, that's my concern is, will it just go on forever?
No, and then there's judges, you know, there's the, what's that, vexatious, is that the word? Litigants, where they are like, there's been judges that say, if you file something else, I will hold you in contempt. Because people can just keep filing over and over.
They're too litigious.
And they're called vexatious, I think is the word, where they're just like, it's legal abuse, you know? And
well, did you know that there is a point at which, so they always say that you can like remain silent and you get an attorney, and if you can't afford one, they'll give you one. Yeah. There's a famous case now. It's the Sarah Boone case. And there is a point at which, if you are such a horrible defendant and you basically fire or make your attorneys quit, they will eventually make you go pro se. Sarah Boone had like 8 attorneys that she either fired or quit. And so the government at the end was like, and you're done. Yeah. Like the judge was like, we gave you so many chances. Now you get to try and defend yourself. So there is an end at some point. And I have heard judges say like, okay, now we know that you just want to ruin with legal fees. So you will pay for everything that you make her come in for.
Yes.
I have heard that.
Yeah, that does happen. So I think, but that's, I mean, you got to be really rich to be able to do that, you know, and keep filing and
or have attorneys that don't make you pay them.
Yes. There's that. There is definitely that. But, you know, in order to move forward with an appeal, mediation is required. Mediation is required, like almost before every
step, before the next step, you have to mediate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm dreading it. Like I'm so, because
how many days?
It's just one day.
No, I mean, till now, or from now to then.
Saturday, Sunday,
so 4 days,
5 days.
5 days.
But it's $275 an hour. Like I don't have that. And
how long is a mediation supposed to take?
We went 9 to 5 one time, 9 to 5:30. And sometimes the people go till midnight, you know? So this one starts at 10 a.m.
For real.
And so it's just, And I think the most frustrating thing is that we sent, and we have done this multiple times, a settlement agreement. It's called a global settlement offer to say, hey, look, you can exchange your equity that you have in the house. We'll wipe away your arrears if you just give up your equity. It basically amounts to be the same. Let's modify the custody. Let's do this. Let's give her this and give you that and resolve it all and then just call it good. And so we sent so many of those, and he didn't even reply to this last one. And it's a no-brainer. Like he owes a crap ton of money to me, and he has a portion of equity in the house, and so let's just flop it. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And then the house, your arrears, your arrearages, your back pay is clear. Bless you. And
thank you.
And now the house is just, now I own the house. Out clear.
It's very logical.
But he won't respond. And so kept not responding, and neither was his attorney. Probably because he's not getting paid and doesn't give a rip anymore. And so finally, my lawyers had to file a notice to force mediation. Force them to respond to our settlement, to respond to anything. And so they finally did, because he's like, we had to file a motion to get you to reply, which cost me $750.
Oh my gosh.
Just to get them, because I'm ordered to mediate.
Right. That's what you have to do in the next step. This, again, you got to start looking into this just for
the Lego.
Just for the phrase is not a rated G phrase, just for S and giggles, you know, do you know the phrase? Did you ever? Oh my gosh. Is this a Seattle thing? The SHIT. just for
And
SHIT
giggles?
and giggles.
Oh,
You
I've
don't know
never
that
heard that.
phrase?
We
Okay.
say here in Utah, we say kicks and giggles.
Okay, well, that's a more PG one.
I
I
had
never
no
said the
idea.
other phrase, I'll have you know, but I have heard it many times.
SHIT and giggles?
Yeah.
No way.
With plural, plural SHITS.
Oh,
Plural.
really?
Anyway, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Anyway, we can move on.
For
I don't need
kicks
to
and
teach
giggles.
you things that you don't know.
Carly's burning my ears every time I get on here. Jeez.
Yeah. We'll have to move on. I'll apologize to your mother later. But just for the heck of it, like, it is a big deal, and it's like sad because the bricks and minifig store is gonna go under, basically, and you're finding out that just because somebody says they're LDS doesn't actually make them LDS, and it's super interesting. But this is the stuff that's happening in that court case, and what people have been saying is, I'll just like summarize it by saying that this one of the franchises, right? It's like a Chick-fil-A, it's franchised. This franchise, they weren't doing so well, so corporate comes in and they take them over. And when they did that franchise had on consignment, they had the biggest Lego, like Star Wars Lego collection ever. It was this old man who's dying and his son's trying to sell it for money to help his dad or whatever. And so they put it on consignment, and there's just this mix up when they come in, when corporate does this hostile takeover. And there's this YouTuber, and his name is Reckless Ben. I had never heard of this guy before, but apparently like he's kind of a big name, and he'll like go into cults and like get out of the cult and like film the whole thing. And anyway, like he's a big deal, and he wanted more story ideas. And somebody contacted him and said, do this one. There's this guy who his Lego, which the plural of Lego is Lego, by the way, I learned that. But he can't get his Lego back. Help him get his Lego back. So Reckless Ben tried to do all of the things, to mediate and to do all of the things that you're talking about. And corporate was hostile and has not worked with him, and is now suing the guy who had the bricks stolen, and suing Reckless Ben and made him take his videos down. All this crazy. I mean, I am telling you that everybody in pop culture, the Law and Crime Channel is covering this. Like, everybody online is covering this.
Is bricks and minifig only a Utah thing?
No, that's what. So it's headquartered in, I think it's Orem, not Provo. I think it's Orem.
So we're like the head honcho here in Utah, though.
The CEO, all of that, it's here. They're LDS, supposedly LDS people who own it,
and they're using Curtin and McConkie, right?
What?
I just said, and they're probably using the Curtin and McConkie law firm, which is.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Nobody said that, but they are, like, when Reckless Ben was trying to serve the papers for this, they did call the cops on him, and the cops, I mean, it's pretty. I would say, looking through the footage that I've seen, they're in big trouble. They did some sketchy stuff. Like, they served a search warrant. And I say that, like, the cops had a search warrant for an Airbnb, and it was because one of the cops knows the owner of the Airbnb, and the owner conveniently said, I heard through the walls that they were talking about some stolen Lego. So they accused the guy who was trying to find the Lego that he stole them. And so they get this warrant to go in and search for the Lego. And on the body cam footage, you see them go in, and they don't look for a dang Lego. Not one. They go in and they arrest the YouTuber and then 5 other people, which you hear on their body cam. They can't even identify them. They're like, oh, the blonde guy. Oh, the brunette. They don't even have their names. It is illegal. You cannot do these things. You cannot just arrest a guy who you don't know who they are and why they're there. They're not doing anything legal. They just took him to jail. Bye. What?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, as far as what I can tell. Anyway, it's a crazy case. But the reason I'm just thinking about it, because it's on my mind and I've been learning a lot about it, but because it's the same thing that you're describing. It's like every step of the way, they are making it harder. And this, I really think that this franchise, this was the point I was going to make. If they had just come in and said, you know what, the fair thing to do is to give the minifig, or give give
him his stupid Lego back for having
give him his Lego, exactly,
fighting,
or pay him out for what the contract said it was worth, and then go after the owners of the store that you took over, right? Like, you take care of it in-house. But because they chose to make these other people, the bad guys, they're going to lose the businesses. So remember, these are franchises. So there are stores in California that have nothing to do, not the same owners, nothing. They just own a bricks and mortar. They had to shut down their store for a week because they were being harassed and all of like poor mistreatment, right? And so that was a poor treatment. Anyway, they are ruining their name, and they threatened. Corporate said, basically we can do this the hard way or we can do the easy way, but if you want to do the hard way, it's going to cost you more in legal fees than it will what your Lego is worth.
Yeah.
Right. So they're basically like, I dare you to sue me. And now corporate has spent so much more money than if they had just made it right with the customer. Right. And so it's like, that's what I'm thinking this whole time. And that's why I think your family will often say like, let's just stop this legal stuff. Is they're like, you're spending so much money. Right. Because it's like, what he's appealing and he's causing all this problem, when if he had just done what he should have, like, didn't his attorney say that still, even what you have now, even after the second judge, you still got more than what his attorney said was his worst day in court. Right. So if the petitioner had just mediated, he would have gotten a way better deal.
Yeah, I was awarded more support and alimony than I offered in mediation for both the first and second ruling.
So, I mean,
which is so rewarding, because his attorney was like, when they walked out of our second mediation, the mediator got back online. She's like, well, he paid me out and they're gone. I was like, excuse me? They up and left. They said, nope. And she's like, he said the words, this is worse than my worst day in court. And then he had it worse in court. I just had to laugh because I was like, in your face, bro. You should have I know him better than anyone. And I know what will work for him, and was actually trying to help him to be successful in his obligations. And I put that in quotes because he says, I will keep my obligations to, because we're an obligation now, right? To help him keep his end of the deal. But because of pride and winning and an attorney who wants power and to be first place, and because nobody likes
and to be like featured on Instagram at this famous Utah.
You're not going to get any promotion, bro, because anytime that there was any kind of trade with the petitioner, it was me making sure that he posted what he said that he would in exchange for someone's product. Because, I mean, when he would say on stage, this is my wife, Julie, she makes an honest man out of me, I didn't laugh. I was like, no, I do. I do make you honest. And I will, because I pride myself in integrity. It's something that I've admired and valued in my dad, and because he was an attorney himself. And tried to be honest myself with my dealings with all of my fellow men, which I actually said in trial on the stand, that I try to be honest in my dealings with my fellow men.
It's a Temple recommend question.
I know. And so, yeah. So anyway, it just was so validating to hear the ruling and know that his attorney was probably like just like sunken and deflated, like, oh my gosh.
Because he that guy's kind of prideful. He just has that arrogance about him, but so does the petitioner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had an attorney tell me that the clients will often find, have you ever seen those shows or commercials where the person looks just like their dog?
Yes. That's what I was just thinking.
They're so funny. Uh-huh. She said that there are clients will usually pick the attorney that's most like them. So it made sense. That he would pick someone prideful and arrogant and shady, because he was basically removed from the bench for his behavior, So anyway, mediation is coming up. I don't know.
I hope it does not take all day.
Oh my gosh, it can't. And then that's the thing. You sit there and you'll talk for 20 minutes to the mediator. You'll tell them what's going on. And then they'll say, okay, bye. And they go into the next breakout room and they talk to the petitioner and his attorney for another 45 minutes while you wait. Then they come back and you just have to sit there and wait.
Do you have your phone, or do you just literally sit there with nothing?
Just my computer. I mean, I'll
Oh,
do.
that's right. They can't take your phone because you're not there in real life. Okay.
So, and I've never been in the same room. And the poor people who have had to be in the same room as their ex-spouse, and sit there and decide what goes where. So I'm grateful that I don't have to do that, but this still sucks because at the end of the day, even after this mediation, let's say that we come to a settlement, it will not be, what's the word? He won't stick to it.
Yeah, well,
not even a ruling, which is why you get modifications to the decrees, and you constantly, my one friend who was being, had a hearing where she was supposed to go to jail for 5 days. She's like, all I am doing is trying to modify the decree to show that and to describe what we are already doing. The kids are always at my house. It's supposed to be 50-50, but he constantly drops them off to me. So why don't we just modify the decree so that it will say that? And then once she tried to modify the decree, then he accuses her of alienation. And it just starts as, I had women at the event who had been in family law for 12 years because the ex keeps taking them back every couple of years for something, and some of these poor women had remarried or had married a man who was in family court with his ex-wife. And
I talked to one like that.
Yeah, and they can't get out because the ex-wife is harassing them. And remember, this is not all just women being abused. It happens to men too. Shout out to all my homies out there who are dealing with narcissistic women. They exist.
Oh, boy, do they.
Yeah. And so she's like, I have nothing to do with this. And my husband has 4 kids with this woman, and I am dragged into family law. So there were a few women.
Well, if it's the one I talked to, she said that the ex was totally fine and they were like friends until they got engaged. And then it flipped a switch and she turned into Satan and would not leave them alone.
And oftentimes when let's just say that the husband or the ex starts to date, let's say he has kind of doesn't care about the kids anymore. The mom is always with the kids and he's just kind of given up on custody until he gets a girlfriend. Then suddenly he sues her for more custody and a change in the decree.
Because he has to prove that he's a good dad.
Yes. Where she's like, wait, what the crap? You've been gone for 3 years and haven't given a rip. And now you are asking for custody when you never cared. But now that you have a woman in your life, you want to just prove to her and sometimes she's the one that's fighting for it, which is just, why would you want to do that? Anyway, so that's coming up. I have listed my non-negotiables. I'm hoping I can stick to it because there are times where I start to cave because you get a little browbeat and attorneys are encouraged. They're supposed to get you to settle. That is the goal. Get them to settle. That's what they're told to do. That's what they learn to do, is get clients to settle. And then they pride themselves on their websites and say 98% of our cases settle before going to court to save you money. However, if mediation fails and if this goes to the appellate court, then it makes your lawyer basically famous because it turns into case law. And case law is like Wade versus Wade, right? Or what is it?
Roe v. Wade.
Sorry.
That was overturned.
Oh, was it? I don't know my case laws at all, but we all know that.
You can't possibly. There's so many.
Right. But it makes what it does is make the case completely public, the whole thing. Anyone has access to it. There's things in my case that you can look up and you can see it, but basically it kind of makes your case go down in history, right? Because anybody can look up Boyer versus Boyer. Well, Your Honor, in Boyer versus Boyer, the case was, had a ruling which was then reconsidered in a second hearing or trial, mini trial, and was appealed because the judge was accused
discretion.
Was accused of abuse of discretion. Well, and that was successful. And so then my case kind of goes down in history, and my lawyers are praised for their work in being successful with an appeal, if that makes sense. And I hope I'm saying that right. So judges or lawyers love when they win appeals because it goes down in history as case law. And then you can use those case laws in other
people
law.
will. I mean, now it's going to be AI is going to find your case and help some other woman. Hopefully, if it goes your way, otherwise it will hurt women.
Right. Exactly. So that's the goal. Wish me luck, everybody. I'm going to go in there.
Wish Steve luck.
Yeah. I'm just going to be a little bit more vocal this time. I can be more vocal, at least in mediation. I mean, he'll probably do the majority. He knows. And if he says something I don't agree with, I'm going to be raising my little emoji hand, on the Zoom.
Can I watch this one or no? Or mediation?
I bet you could if you want. If you'll be bored out of your mind, it'll be for hours on end. Hopefully not.
Can I see both of you if I tune in?
No, you won't be able to see his because I can't see his either because they're in a breakout room. So I'll ask them, or I'll give you the link and see if you can. I'll give you all the link. Y'all can come in and check it out.
I'm just super curious about it.
I know. So, but I'm going in there like with my chest puffed out this time because every time I've gone into mediation, I have been quiet, thinking that the mediator has my best interest, and they don't care. They don't care. They're just there to be neutral and make sure, that you both settle.
Well, you know how, like, when you're trying to get your daughter to go to an OB appointment for the first, I mean, it's gynecology, not OB, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? OBGYN.
Yes.
But they have to go get their first exam or whatever. And you just say, oh, they see that all the time. You're just another one, don't worry about it. That's really how it is in every occupation, right? With the mediator, you're like, oh, they're going to be precious with me and they're going to hear my story and they're going to want to help me. Or no, you're just another divorced woman. You're just another, couple that can't get along or whatever.
You're just another pap smear.
You said it, not me. Maybe it was a terrible analogy, but
it's true.
It's just true. Kind of like
you think that you think that I'm going to tell them my sob story and they're going to feel for me. No, they don't give a flying rip. They're there.
Well, they hate their jobs. It sucks. Like, imagine when I look at all these jobs and we're critical of, people at like the foster care system or these mediators or whatever it is. You're like, but do I want to do that job? Hell no. Mm-hmm. I know it, I don't know it because I've lived it, but I've researched enough. I've seen enough. I don't want that job either. Right. So it's like, I mean, I have a friend. Did I tell you the story already that my friend was an attorney? And I mean, she is an attorney. But when her kid was little, her first kid, she went to work as a mediator and she came home one day and her little boy had been dragging her pajamas across the house, crying because he was so sick. They found out that he had an allergy to milk, which was like actually like anaphylactic as he got older. So anyway, but she was so pissed because she was like, I literally just spent all day with a couple that paid me more than their kitchen table was worth, but they fought all day about this stupid freaking kitchen table. And I come home to my kid doing this, right? Like, imagine being a mediator, right? These people, they're probably just like, get your act together. Yeah. I got stuff to do.
Well, and that's why judges also hate divorce law, because they're dealing with criminals and then they come to two people that can't get along because they're not trained in abuse, a lot of them. And it is hard to get to trial. Oh my gosh, to get to trial is a marathon itself. But there was another case where the woman said, I will forego alimony. And it was like $2 million. She's like, I'll let that all go in exchange for an apology. All I want is for him to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's all. And so the mediator went and told them she'll let all this money go as long as you say to her face that you're sorry. And he said, no, I won't do it. But then his attorney was like, you're doing this. You just go and say, you go and suck up the pride for a minute and you go say you're sorry. And then you can be free of $2 million. And so he finally did it. And that agreement was signed and he didn't have to pay her. She just wanted to hear him say he was sorry and that she was right. As long as he said
wow.
I know. So yeah, it makes you look like you're two little babies that can't get along. And my first mediator was horrible. He's the one that said, I know you've been wounded by a rabid dog, but it's not your responsibility, right, to go and introduce your children to the backyard. And I said, well, I don't have to pet the dog. I don't have to go pet the rabid dog and get bit again. He's like, you just ruined a perfectly good metaphor for how you need to reintroduce your children to the to their father. And then the commissioner that said to me, or, when my lawyer said, Your Honor, it is not her responsibility to repair the relationship that he has damaged with the children. And she said, oh, yes, it is, counsel. As if I hate when they say that. Counsel, do you have anything to say? Oh, it just drives me nuts.
It sounds demeaning. Why is it demeaning?
I don't know. But then she's like, she is gatekeeping, Miss Boyer, and I'm like, don't call me that. is gatekeeping. So she's absolutely responsible for the what's this word? The fallout,
relationship. Yeah. Oh yeah,
the breakup of the relationship, the damage done. And then you get off these calls, and they end. Thank you, counsel. Thank you, Mr. Christensen. And they hang up, and then you just cry. And your hands are shaking because they are literally deciding your life. They're deciding what you get to do for Christmas. They're deciding if you get to travel with your kids. They're deciding if you get to have 50-50 or 70-30. Like, it's like they rip them away from you. I know that men feel the same way, and that there's all these fathers' rights groups trying to get, and 50-50 should be the standard if both parents are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, but I want to say, when both parents are healthy, lots of times marriages work because you're healthy and you can work with conflict.
Or at least mediation works.
Yeah.
If you're healthy. But divorce brings out the worst in everybody. It brings out the worst feelings, the worst desires, the worst thoughts, the worst everything, because it is the worst kind of betrayal,
Yeah.
It's just
by the law and by the people that you think are going to protect you. That's why I felt so bad. I've gone down the Michael Jackson rabbit hole. I saw the movie. I freaking love Michael Jackson. I always have. And then I watched the movie and loved it. I love Jafar Jackson. Oh my gosh, he is the cutest. Have you seen it yet?
Mm-mm.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Jafar.
The actor who played him. Yeah.
He is so cute, and he's the sweetest guy in all of his interviews and stuff. But Michael Jackson talks, in a bunch of his own interviews, how he's like, you can't trust anybody. I can't, and that's why he loved kids so much, and everybody thought he was a pedophile and a child molester because his childhood was crappy and taken from him, and so he found himself loving being around kids, and kind of, it seemed like he was almost stunted, his development because of having to grow up so fast, and so he loves doing water balloon fights and playing with kids and having them sleep over in his house. Well, really, his bedroom was 2 stories, and it wasn't just a bed in a room, and I know there's a lot of haters out there, but I love Michael Jackson, and I always will.
Well, there's actually a lot of people who are doing deep dives. I haven't gotten into that one yet, but I am hearing that there's a lot of pretty good evidence that he was set up because they wanted his catalog.
He was killed,
Yeah.
But he
not just that he was killed, but that they told a story in the media that would serve them, and that ruined his reputation and bankrupted him and stuff. And it was because of greedy people.
Right. And it worked. Yeah. And that's why he was on trial, and they never found any evidence, but he always would say, don't trust anybody, and kids have never deceived me. And that's how I feel with family court. All the people that were sent into your supposed rescue, the guardian ad litem, the custody evaluators, DCFS, even policemen at sometimes, you don't trust any of them. Not even your lawyer. Don't trust anyone unless you find someone that you can trust. I mean, I don't know.
And that's hard to do. I mean, especially when you add money into it, it's like, you don't have any money, so you don't have to worry about people wanting your money. But it's there are people, I'm not that person, but I know people who have been successful. And in fact, so I have friends who know people, right? So I hear stories, but I don't know these people, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So one of my friends was telling me about a local guy who created a protein powder that has made a lot of money. There's a lot of this kind of thing in Utah with Built Bar, protein bar, all the things. There's so many companies out there, right? This is not those people, but anyway, there's a guy who made a lot of money, a lot of money. And he sold a fraction of his company for almost $1 billion, like a lot. I mean, super, super successful. There's tons of billionaires in Utah. I don't know any of them, for the record, but I do know they exist. Anyway, but this guy said that he found out that his family has 2 group chats. There's the one with all of them on it, and then there's the one all of them minus him. And that they accidentally added him one day, and he saw on the chat that they were talking about how he should be paying all their bills and like how he should be fixing all their problems, all that stuff, because he now has money because he sold this part. They were so entitled and so rude about them that he kind of like stepped away from his family once he figured out how they really felt about him.
Man.
You know, and she just knows a lot of people in that arena, like lots and lots of wealth. And she was just saying, you know, when you have that kind of money, the general idea, like with Michael Jackson, is everybody that you come in contact with wants something from you.
Yeah.
They all want either your power, your money, your notoriety, like whatever. And so I don't know that you and I will ever have that problem, but I do believe that it's a real problem for people, you know.
So help us have that problem by liking and subscribing.
Yeah, liking and
stars. Okay, guys, get us famous out there.
I don't know that I actually want to be famous, so feel free to not do that.
Yeah. Yes, I'll take the hit for us because I need the money so badly.
How can we make you famous and not me famous? How can we do that?
Right. Let's get famous, but not have to have any of the repercussions and just glide through life. But
oh my gosh,
it's all about challenges. It's what we're here for. It's made me more compassionate, more generous in my own heart, and more prayerful. Right? It's made me more of a beggar and a beggar to divinity, I guess is what I should say, begging for help, pleading for strength. And so thank you guys.
Like little children.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson said. Not so much the scriptures, but Michael Jackson.
He's got to have a book somewhere. Michael Jackson 1 verses 7 through 9. Yeah.
That's right. All right, you guys, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, tell us what you think and what you liked about the podcast. And hopefully we can get on and answer some questions. It's midnight now and we're both tired. So we will see you again next time.